We read in this week's Parsha of Yosef's great miracle. He was thrown into prison by one of the most powerful men in Egypt, Potiphar. And ostensibly he was thrown in there as a life sentence. Here he was, a foreigner in a foreign land, without connections, without family and friends, and he'd become an enemy to one of the most powerful men in Egypt. So what sort of hope could he expect? What sort of salvation could he expect sitting in a dungeon in the heart of Egypt, without any friends, without the language, without the culture, without the connections? What sort of help could he expect? We imagine that in terms of his possibilities of being saved, there wasn't that great a chance that he had. He didn't have such a great chance of being pulled out, unless some miracle happened. But that miracle did happen. Suddenly Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, decided that he needed Yosef, and he took him out of jail, and he appointed him leader of the entire land of Egypt. An unbelievable move from total obscurity and from total misery to become one of the most powerful people in the land of Egypt. That was his miracle. It's similar in a way to the miracle of the Hashmonai brothers. They determined they needed to fight the Greek army, the entire Greek force, and they did so. They were just a handful of Jewish warriors, but they took on the great Greek army, and they had one victory, and then they had a second victory, and then a third victory, and finally they actually succeeded in taking control away from the great Greek forces, the tremendous Greek forces, the tremendous miracle, like we say in the davening every day, that Hashem delivered the many into the hands of the few, the weak, the mighty into the hands of the weak. That was their miracle. They did their share, and suddenly everything just fell away. All of the great enemy fell away. In a sense, this is also the miracle of the lamp that burnt for 8 days. There was only a little bit of oil, enough oil maybe for 1 day, and yet that oil just kept burning another day and then another day. So to speak, the oil conquered its own limitations, the limitations of time and of quantity. Just there wasn't enough oil, and yet it just kept on burning. What we can think, though, is that this miracle is also our personal miracle. In terms of our spiritual growth, it may often seem as if our service, our work, in terms of living a Torah lifestyle, in terms of learning Torah, seems to be very puny. How can we ever conquer the great territories, the great spiritual territories, when at the same time we face this great enemy? The great enemy is the dream of a material well-being, the dream of living the American dream, the materialistic dream, the dream of becoming rich and famous and happy and with the holidays and with the big mansions, the big houses and the big cars. And this is the dream that seeks to drown out all spirituality that we have, to take us away from the Torah, to take us away from knowing Hashem. In a sense, how are we ever going to conquer this enemy? How will we conquer this enemy? Yet we too can experience the very same miracle, just small victory by small victory by small victory. And with Hashem's help, we too can have our own personal miracle. May this Chanuka also be a symbol for us that each one of us is capable of having his own personal Chanuka miracle in his own life, that he can reach every type of happiness and success in terms of this world, and more so in terms of the next.